This just gets crazier and crazier. What did I tell you like 2 weeks ago? Lawfare, that's all they got. And the audacity of the left is really amazing to me. They don't care about standards, they don't care about authority, or even the Constitution, or what might happen to them. I mean, they never have any consequences, so why would they care? They are fighting tooth and nail to stop all of Trump's stuff, from DOGE or any other cuts to government reforms. Today, an Obama-appointed judge, from Rhode Island no less, went even further and told the Trump administration that he has to effectively keep giving unaccountable money away. He just basically, he said, Trump, you can't freeze any more of this spending. And the stuff you did freeze is unfrozen. But I mean, most Democrats are like applauding this, like, even though they don't even know where the money is going. So odd that anyone would fight to spend more taxpayer dollars, don't you think? Hey, someone once said something about this. Oh, yes, it was about 15 years ago. Oh, it was Elizabeth Warren with the same bad haircut.
You know, when that much money disappears, it's usually because somebody broke some laws somewhere. But if we don't look, if we don't ask, if we don't uncover it and make it all public, we'll never find out.
What changed? Democrats were all about cuts then, but now they're not? Why? And because they're not getting what they want, they just declare it's a constitutional crisis. And according to Ilhan Omar, who oversees the #1 terrorist recruiting capital of America, she's just mad that the $2 billion that was going to Somalia from USAID will be cut off.
Yeah, I mean, what we are witnessing is a constitutional crisis. We are seeing an executive branch that has decided that they are no longer going to abide by the Constitution in honoring Congress's role in the creation of the agencies, in their role in deciding where money is allocated.
Whatever. I mean, this woman wouldn't know the Constitution if it smacked her in the side of the head. Democrats are the most selective people. First off, I never heard her raise any concerns about the authority in which DOGE was operating under before. A little fun fact here, you may not know this, but that office was actually created by, drumroll please, Barack Obama, who founded it as the U.S. Digital Service Office to correct the $2 billion failure of his healthcare.gov website. Their own website that is still the same from when Biden's time was in there, saying, quote, bringing private sector best practices to the federal government. Private industry knows how to work fast, lean, and keep focus on the user. User being the taxpayer here. The left is freaking out about the very type of employees it was designed to attract. Their memorandum from Obama explicitly exempted them from ordinary hiring rules to attract Silicon Valley types like this guy, Luke Ferrator, who's now on DOGE. He was awarded $250 grand for writing a code that programmed AI to decode ancient scrolls of Pompeii. That's a smart kid. Maybe if he called himself, I don't know, like a woman, stole their clothing at baggage claims all over the airports, and ran our nuclear waste department, Democrats would love him. More from their website. Quote, we collaborate with public servants throughout the government to address some of the most critical needs and ultimately deliver a better governmental experience to people. We work across multiple agencies and bring best practices from our various disciplines. Wow. Thanks, Obama. That sounds an awful lot like DOGE to me. Yet they're getting stopped by judges in every corner. I mean, could you imagine if Democrats had won this past election? Can you imagine what they would be doing right now? This is when they're not in power. Essentially saying that non-elected bureaucrats really are in control. Which is exactly why Trump won, because we are so tired of this stuff. The left's argument here is that no one elected Elon Musk. That's such a terrible, stupid argument. No one elected the ATF. No one elected the head of USAID. No one elected the head of the EPA or the other heads of 400 agencies we have. But they did whatever they wanted. They stomped all over my rights. DOGE, in its operational authority and purpose, is being sued for the very reason it was created. And using the idea of a security clearance to keep Musk out. Are you kidding me? Biden gave Musk a top secret security clearance. This is not a constitutional crisis. It's just not. It's actually exactly what the Constitution says. And to further point out how stupid these people are and these lawsuits are, if Ilhan Omar is going on to TV to talk about the Constitution, may I remind her, Article 2, Section 1 of the Constitution establishes the executive power of the president. It essentially says the president has the authority to manage the executive branch how he sees fit. He can fire federal employees. Sure, Congress can pass a law specifically telling him certain things that he can and can't do. If they wanted to change it, they'd have to get 60% or over 60% to make it veto-proof, so because Trump wouldn't sign it. But they can't get that, and God forbid a Republican voted for it. Actually, it wouldn't put it past some of them. I mean, they'd be voted out in the next primary. Additionally, the Supreme Court decision, Myers versus the United States, 1926, the Supreme Court ruled that the president has the power to remove executive branch officials without the consent of the Senate, based on Article 2's vesting power of the executive power. Also, the Impoundment Control Act of 1974. This law was enacted to curb the president's ability to unilaterally withhold funds, but it did establish two ways the president can pause those funds, which one lies in the deferral section. As you can see right here, the president can delay spending, but must report this to Congress, which can then disapprove the deferral. If disapproved, they have to disapprove it, the funds have to be spent, but only if Congress says so. Good. Congress would actually have to do something. I dare them to vote against Trump on this one. This is like everyone's favorite thing to do now. It's like a hobby for Americans to go online and figure out what we're wasting money on today. The trap is wide open. Congress won't fight that. In fact, Congress hasn't done anything, which is exactly why Trump is being forced to do what he said he was going to do alone, while Congress just spits in our faces and does absolutely nothing. Democrats lost at the ballot box. They lost the culture war. Trump's approval rating is at an all-time high. It's 53%. He's up 10 points over Democrats in the youth vote. So now they're turning to judges to block the agenda because Trump is dismantling it. You know why these judges are they're going to judges to block Elon's access? Remember this?
Former President Trump is accusing the Biden administration of using FEMA funding to support undocumented migrants. How is the White House responding to that?
I mean, it's just categorically false. It is not true. It is a false statement.
Well, turns out she was lying. Just last week, FEMA, this is while Trump is president, gave another $59 million to New York City hotels. So if they're not doing it, why are they doing it? This is one of these judges is just going to throw someone. They got to throw her in jail because that's essentially the FEMA director who allocated this $59 million, essentially stole that because it's against the presidential order which she operates under. That is also not in FEMA's scope whatsoever, which is why they don't want Musk digging around in these payments in the Treasury, because they will find out, they will expose it, everybody will know, and these people will get voted out of office. That's kind of the point. But today, a judge ruled that Trump can't issue a national buyout to 65,000 federal workers. I mean, it's obviously popular. Why not? Schumer backed that up with what I'm calling the resist memo. Hey, what are you resisting? I really want Chuck Schumer to articulate this specifically. Don't give me some broad generalities. I'm just going to assume that you hate America if you do that, because this is what we're up against right here.
So an audit is exactly what you just described,
Yes.
which is, do I know what was delivered to which place?
Right.
The ability to pass an audit or the fact that the DOD has not passed an audit is not suggestive of waste, fraud, and abuse. That is completely false right there. So
what is
now it's a question of, it's suggestive that we don't have an accurate inventory that we can pull up of what we have where. That is not the same as saying we can't do that because waste, fraud, and abuse has occurred.
So in my world,
Yeah.
that's waste.
But that's the mindset of every bureaucrat. I'm with Jon Stewart. That was the deputy secretary of defense during the last administration. And judges are backing those people up. You can't tell me where that went, trillions of dollars in the Pentagon? What am I supposed to do? Just trust you? No. Where did the money go? That is fraud, waste, and abuse, lady. Why is anybody resisting this? I mean, well, we know why. But the judges they placed are backing them up on that. So if the judges are just doing whatever they want, when do we get to start doing whatever we want?
He loves the Constitution. He fights for what's right. He hates the bad guys. He's a freedom warrior. He's your freedom warrior. Watch Carl Higbie every weekday on Newsmax.